What's up, everybody? Arrg the Pirate here, and today I'm going to be playing a little Duo Lane Twinbalst. As always, let's go over the deck. Now I have Auto Health Potion, Ruthless, Multi-Shot, Piercing Basic, Critical Hits, and lastly Auto Shield for my gems. Now for my cards, I have Demolitionist, Outlander Scout, Nitro Boost, Sand Speeder, Blitz Rush, Power Tap, Overclock Droid, Pressure Hunter, Cryo Agent, Heavy Hitter, OPD Militia, and lastly Shatter Golem. OPD Militia just got a nerf, and it was well deserved, guys. But to be quite honest, this card is still so good late game. Now, before you would want to rush OPD, right out the gate, as soon as you get 12 points, because it's 8 agility and 4 intellect. As soon as you got those 12 points, boom, throw the card on, you're good. Now, you might want to wait until you're, 20 points in and you have another power card, but it's really about player level. Now, OPD does more damage the higher up in level you are, so if you are doing an amazing job of farming and hit 25 points at level 8, the OPD is not going to hit near as hard as something like Shatter Golem and Heavy Hitter or, a combo like that. But if you are doing a decent job of leveling, hey, it's not a bad choice. And this has kind of got me thinking, hey, Font of Experience, if you're planning on using this build, Font of Experience might not be the most horrible build, because honestly, there aren't really a whole lot of 1-point cards out there that are just absolutely amazing for an ADC. Maybe going with something like Advanced Evolution now might help, or something like that. But really, Demolitionist is a pretty solid card for that early game tower damage. But really, you're not getting into the enemy tower until 15 minutes into the match. And by that time, you probably upgraded from Demolitionist. So really, running something like Font might, kind of be a new meta. And I definitely want to try it out. Now, I have played 2 games with Twinblast and 1 game with Sparrow with OPD, or the new OPD on. And it feels good. Like I said, it is much later than it used to be. You definitely have to slow down and really wait and, kind of bide your time until you get to a higher level. And I think OPD really comes online at about level 15 or so. And I think in this match, I want to say I probably put it on at level 8 or 9, and it's just not as good. So, it is what it is. I think the card is absolutely amazing for a ADC now. And, this is really the strongest ADC deck currently, in my opinion. I really think that just the way Paragon has moved with so much CC, things like that, you really want to have super fast, high burst damage on your ADCs, and OPD is definitely where it's at. Now, before I get too many people going, hey man, what are you doing? This is actually recorded from the old OPD. Like I said, I've played 3 matches, and all of them have ended within like 15 to 20 minutes. And one of the matches, I didn't even do all that great. So instead of posting just these, little clips of videos, I figured I would just go ahead and post this older one, which is a decent game, and it shows off the deck, how to build it, things like that. Instead of just running with that, the really super short, not as interesting gameplay. But, that's just real quick so I don't get yelled at, guys. This is the older, but I definitely have tried out the newer. And like I said, at around 15, that's when the card really comes online. So I'm still a huge fan of slow farming, but, not everybody has the same idea. And you can see our Steel is, he's pushing the lane for me. I'm just making sure that I get the last hits, and I'm, I don't want to get underfed even though he's pushing the lane. I need to make sure I get all the last hits. Now, Narbash did back right here. Now's the time to push, guys. Let's hard push this lane. We're fairly close. We can hard push, maybe even get some damage on the tower. If not, get a kill. You know, this is what we were waiting for. This is what we wanted to happen. That Narbash left this tower unguarded, and you can see we're doing a little bit of damage. Of course, you know, it's not as much as I'd like. You know, it's going to take us a little while to actually down the tower, but no problem at all. Narbash shows back up. It's time to get out. Right here, guys, this is the time that you want to push. This is the time that, you know, you can make those big plays. You see where we got Revenant down fairly low. Once he gets, you know, away from his healing towers, or, you know, Narbash will be able to heal him up. But that's quite all right. As long as we're getting poke on him, you know, we got some significant damage on the tower. That's great. You have to wait for the team to split up, things like that, and pick your time to make that, you know, big push, those big plays. Now, I am in a solo queue, so we don't have just quite the best communication, but Revenant is sticking around, and Narbash has left him. And I'm kind of keeping an eye on Steel, and I see Steel shows up, or Steel actually gets vision onto Rev, and hey, let's take him out. That was a great job by Steel. I had no idea the Revenant was going to stick around and wait for gold. You know, that was a very easy kill, and, you know, it probably wasn't the best decision, but no problem at all. Let's go ahead and, you know, I'm going to continue to slow farm. You know, this wave, I want to make sure my wave does not get into the enemy tower. But this second wave, now that I know I'm not at risk of pushing that lane into the tower, let's hard push it, get it into tower, and get some damage. Now, if I would have hard pushed that first lane, it might not have made it to the tower, but Narbash would have been able to actually get damage on it, things like that. So picking the time to push your lane again it's absolutely huge, guys. We're able to actually wrap up that Narbash kill, and, you know, Revenant does ult me, which Revenant, a 1v1 at this early stage, Revenant could probably take me. You know, I am fairly weak. Luckily, his ultimate ran out, and we're able to take him down. You know, Steel was there to get that stun that, you know, it just worked out perfect, but I am very low. Now, one thing I see a lot of people not do with Twinblast is use that dash to run. Guys, that's an escape. Try to use it. It works decently. Now, I am trying to stick around to try to do everything I can to make sure Steel gets out. Sure enough, you know, he did manage to escape that rampage, which is absolutely amazing. I don't know if that grenade helped, but, you know, I did definitely put myself at a little bit of risk, but if I did save his life, you know, it's completely worth it. Now, once I'm back, I throw on Blitz Rush, Sand Speeder, and that Demolitionist, of course, which I was thinking maybe Sand Speeder might provide a little bit more since I do have Blitz Rush now and don't have to quite worry about an escape as much. I go ahead and secure Black Buff, and then, you know, from here we're going to push our lane. The reason I wasn't in my lane is because, you know, hey, we needed to kind of wait till it pushed up. Sure enough, it did. You know, you definitely need to get ready for a counter push once you down a tower. And as you can see here, you know, there is a bit of a counter push. And you see, I was just straight up teeing off on that rampage and no damage at all. Man, ADCs feel so weak to me, guys. You know, I know this is early game, don't really have a whole lot of power on, but my goodness. That was like 100 shots and no damage. Oh, it feels bad, man. Now, their Revenant ends up ulting me, and you can see, guys, Revenant can definitely take me at this low stage in the game. I'm having to leave, you know, and unfortunately Steel, you know, Steel's there doing work, but I had to get out. And I do head back in to try to help out as much as I can. Narbash is following me, you know, in one thunk, you know, I'm dead. Rampage is now here, and so you can see, using that Blitz Rush, using my dash to get out, you know, I went back in to try to help out. They did secure Revenant, but we end up losing our ADC, or our mid laner, and our support. You know, luckily I was able to get out, but, you know, in the long run of things, it probably wasn't a fair trade, but it could have been much worse. But no problem at all. This allows me to throw on Pressure Hunter, so hopefully I can start cranking out some damage. Now, from here, I don't need to really slow farm my lane. You know, I want my tower to go down, and, you know, that way we can start setting lanes and rotating, things like that, but I can definitely push a lane much faster than Revenant can. And sure enough, you know, he's here by himself. I'm going to go in on him a little bit, but Narbash shows up. Now, our Steel was there, but you could see Steel kind of turned away from that Narbash, and he decided not to make that engagement, which that's okay. From here, I'm going to head to mid because, you know, Shimby is there, which, you know, Steel peeled off to head over there to deal with her, which was probably a better choice anyways. You know, I'm going to follow up because, you know, there's no reason for me to stay in my lane. But unfortunately, there's, you know, no farm in mid for me either. So, head back to my lane, and sure enough, the enemy team has actually pushed that wave into our tower. So, guys, at this point, I see a ton of people stay in this fight. Guys, get out. There's no reason to be there. They're going to take that tower. Even if they don't, you know, if they decided to engage on you, they'd kill you and then take the tower anyways. So, just leave that fight. Try to get set up to defend elsewhere, or, you know, defend against this next push coming. You can see after they down that tower, everybody backs off, which is always a good idea, guys. And then from here, we can actually get this lane set in the right direction. You can see I just kind of, you know, cleaned out that wave a little bit, and then I'm going to just slow farm. I definitely want to get my farm, and this will also allow this wave to set, and, you know, we can get a decent counter push going. So I actually don't necessarily set the lane. I go ahead and hang out and, you know, get all the farm from that lane. But my lane is set against their lane. You know, my minion wave is bigger than theirs. So that lane's going to naturally push. Of course, when it gets to the tower, it's not going to be as good or as big as it would be if I would have set it. But it's definitely going to take some attention. You can see Revenant has shown up over there to that lane to actually deal with that wave. And, you know, I made pretty good progress there. So, that's fine. I'm going to actually rotate to mid and, you know, continue my farm here. You know, Countess strives so much at being able to rotate. As, you know, y'all know, I just posted the Countess video. Countess is just so good at rotating. So, if you can have some help, you know, defending your lane, things like that, and, you know, that really frees her up to gank, things like that. You know, oh, it's so helpful. I know I appreciate that whenever I'm playing Countess. So, you know, I'm trying to share the wealth, I guess. Now, again, guys, I'm just going to make sure to keep my farm up. You know, as the ADC, that's your job. You want to make sure your farm is as high as possible. And, you know, you don't need to be the first one. You should never engage and, you know, start the fight. But you don't necessarily need to be the first one there. You can always be the last one there. Just make sure you're cranking out that damage. And just like this fight here in the jungle, you know, we show up. We're able to make sure this damage is happening. You know, you can flick on that OPD and just destroy people. My God, the damage. But, you know, this is really how you want to do the ADC. You know, you want to constantly keep your farm up. Any chance you get to get farm, make sure you're picking that farm up. And then when you see a team fight, you know, if you can safely rotate there, rotate. Now, my team does stay in, so I say, okay, you know, with Countess and a Steel here, we might be able to push this. And I don't know what happened to Shibby's health, but it's gone, guys. From here, we're just going to keep the pressure up. Go in on this T2 here in mid, and you can see we're chipping it down, but, you know, it is going pretty slow. Countess, unfortunately, got tower aggro, and, you know, Countess, tower hurts. But, you know, my whole team, you know, my team's rotated, our Kalari's rotated, and Revenant, you know, he gets out of position a little bit, and we're definitely going to punish him for that. We go ahead and take out Narbash as well. You can see, guys, I've just taped the trigger down. Like, just constant shooting. But we're, you know, I want to keep this pressure up. You know, we should be able to keep that pressure up, and that's really going to allow other lanes to push. You can see our off lane is, or solo lane is being pushed right now. And since we had, you know, so much presence, Wukong was there, Shimby has showed back up, you know, that allowed him to push that wave. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to down the tower, but keeping that pressure up is absolutely huge. Now, since we set that lane before we initially went back, you know, you can see we stayed in mid just so long, guys, but we were able to back to base and then actually head to that duo lane and get there in time to keep that wave from pushing into the T2. So, you know, that's absolutely huge. Now, I ran way around to come to the mid lane. I didn't want to deal with just CC'd to death. And, you know, we weren't able to save that tower, which, you know, even if I would have went the shortcut, or, you know, the fast way, we wouldn't have saved that tower anyways. But from here, we're going to kind of push up. You know, we ended up forcing out this Rampage ult, which is huge. You know, getting that Rampage ult out, you know, that's massive, because he's not going to be able to use that in an actual engagement. But, you know, I am being just way too aggressive. And, you know, their Revenant, you know, he hurts. You can see Wukong's here, and I'm actually going to have my first death, you know, and that was careless of me. I definitely shouldn't have been pushed up like that. You can see I ran down that lane, you know, Countess was there, and Countess can't do anything. You know, I know better. That was a bad call, but you can see just because I'm an ADC, you know, that doesn't mean I can, you know, or, you know, I'm OPD ADC. That doesn't mean I can kill 4 people. You know, keeping that pressure up did allow us to take Fang, but, you know, it was absolutely insane to keep that much pressure up, especially not having Steel there. You know, I thought Steel was actually going through the jungle to rotate, and then I quit looking at the map. So, you know, that was 100% on me. That was a careless death. But, you know, the good thing, we did make sure to secure that Fangtooth because, you know, yeah, that pressure was up and we had a 4-man rotation for it. Now, for the next couple of minutes, you know, we're kind of running around going where we're needed. You know, Kalari had that vision on that ward in the jungle. We're able to, or in the river, we're able to take that out, as well as, you know, we're just kind of going where we're needed, trying to get as much farm as we can. End up heading back to mid lane, and, you know, we kind of have a team collapse over in the enemy jungle for this invade. Now, Steel right here misses this ultimate, which I don't know, maybe you can't ult up on that peg. Maybe there's, you know, like a barrier or something like that. It's really unfortunate. We did end up taking down Shimby, but with the amount of CC, you know, we end up getting absolutely melted. My team ends up wrapping up that Narbash kill as well, and then, you know, they end up taking out Revenant as for, you know, a 1-for-3 fight. That's absolutely amazing. They chase off this Rampage, but aren't able to secure that kill. But guys, that's quite all right. You know, I would have been much happier staying alive in that situation. But, you know, that Steel ult missing and just the position that I put myself in, you know, that was, yeah, you know, it happens. I'm sure we were definitely planning on Steel meeting that ult. I definitely need to see if that is an invisible wall there, because it looked like Steel should have got at least a 3-man knockup. But, you know, I don't know. Maybe y'all can tell me if y'all have experienced that, or, you know, maybe he just missed that ult completely. But, you know, is what it is. That 3-man wipe also gave us another Fangtooth, which is huge. And you can see, again, guys, setting that duo lane. My lane is constantly naturally pushing up to their tier 2, or at least close to it. And that's what just setting that lane before you rotate, or at least clearing the lane out before you rotate. It's absolutely huge, guys. Now we do get another jungle invade by Steel, and we're able to make some huge progress here. You know, we show up a bit late, but hey, we were there to wrap up a couple of those kills, and, you know, that's huge. As long as we're showing up to engage in the fights, that's absolute huge advantage, and that's really what you want from your ADC. Well, from this point, we're actually able to just march down this mid lane. You know, I've got Shatter Golem OPD on. You know, I hit hard, guys. And, you know, I gotta say, I really like this build for ADC. It's probably one of the better feeling builds I've played with in a while. You know, I have tried the Robin Hood build. I don't know if y'all saw that old video or older video, but I did try that out. I don't know, it just doesn't feel as strong as it used to, but OPD feels good. We're able to just shove this lane, end up taking out this inhib. I'm going to go ahead and try to get Narbash out because, you know, even though he did use his ult, you know, that thunk is just huge. We're able to end up wrapping up a couple of kills here as well. You know, that Shimby, Rampage, Narbash, with only Wukong left, you know, and us taking down 2 inhibs, this is going to be GG. You know, this was a great match. You know, we made some really good plays. We had a couple, where we had one really careless death. But, you know, that second death, you know, deaths happen, guys. And, you know, there's no need to get too salty about them. It was unfortunate, but it ended up, you know, my team was able to turn it around and make a great play out of it. Well, that's going to wrap it up for my OPD Militia Twinblast build. I hope y'all enjoyed, and if you did, show me some love. Leave me a comment, think about subscribing, join our Discord if you haven't done it. I'd love to play with some of y'all, and as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.